Hello and welcome back to NiHao, Salam. I'm Yegane,
And I'm Jeff.
and today we're going to get right into our icebreakers, our two truths and a lie. Jeff, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay.
So the first one is I drowned a pet turtle. Second, I was obsessed with hip-hop culture as a teenager.
Okay.
Third, I used to have a vlogging channel.
Okay. I feel like... Okay, the drowning a turtle is... How old were you?
I was probably like 7.
7. Okay. And did you do it on purpose?
I did not.
It was an accidental drowning? Was it near a bathtub? I don't understand.
It was in its environment,
Okay.
which is water and water.
Okay. Drowning happens usually in water, so that adds up. Okay, and then the hip hop, I know that's true. The vlogging, I can picture that. But I can also picture you accidentally drowning a turtle and that being like your Joker backstory as a child. Okay, I'm gonna say the lie is that you drowned a turtle.
Yeah,
You had a vlogging channel?
I did.
With who?
I thought that I could try and get viral when it first became a thing, like vlogging on YouTube.
Oh, when you were a teenager?
Yeah, I was a teenager.
Or was it in
traveling a lot.
college?
Teenager, I was involved with like youth groups, and
Oh.
traveling and doing mission trips.
That should have gone viral. I feel like that no one watched it, or what happened?
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of attention, and I felt like if it didn't go viral, if people didn't care, I shouldn't have to put more effort.
Aw, but there's a good time capsule. Like, I bet you
It
wish you
is.
had it now.
It is a time capsule I'm keeping private forever.
Oh, you still have it.
I still have all the clips of all my vlogs.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I did something like that. I didn't really do vlogs, but I would, as a child, remake SNL sketches and tell my parents I came up with it.
Yeah.
So, like, if The Lonely Island did a sketch, I would make it with my cousins with my tiny camera,
Mm-hmm.
and I would upload it. I'll tell my parents I came up with this, and they're like, "We have SNL. We saw that you. We have NBC. We know that you did not come up with Andy Samberg's I'm on a boat sketch." But I never vlogged.
And yes, I was obsessed with the hip hop culture to a point where I had baggy pants showing my boxer briefs on purpose.
Like a Justin
Not because,
Bieber-esque.
like, this is happening back in Hong Kong when nobody was wearing baggy pants.
Yeah.
And I was making a statement.
Why did you have a pet turtle? Is that a whole lie?
I had a pet turtle,
But
but
it's
it
alive.
died from natural causes. I did not drown it.
Okay. It's funny your brain went there. Okay, my turn. The first time I had sex, I was on top. I met Seth Rogen. I saved my sister from drowning as a child. And I wrote that before I saw the drowning pet turtle thing, so we both
Okay.
did drowning.
So now there's 2 cats here. I'm not sure if I remember you telling me if you met Seth Rogen. I mean, I would have known by now if you had met him. Because you like Seth.
Mm-hmm. Love Seth.
My suspicion is that is a lie, but I'm not sure if you're capable of saving someone from drowning.
Mommy. Defend mommy.
It's believable that you were on top when you first had sex.
Why is that believable? That's hard.
Why would it not be believable? I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm not a girl. But I think you never met Seth.
Ding, 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 you're correct. I never met Seth. I met
Yeah.
James Franco, which is disappointing now knowing the allegations. I'm not proud that I met James, but I did meet James. I never met Seth. He was supposed to be there as well when I was in LA. It was like a meet and greet, and I got a shirt signed by James that I now threw away, but...
So I won?
Yeah, you won. So did I.
Yes, we both won. So if we both tie, we're both losers.
Yeah, do you have any questions about the drowning or anything?
Yeah, how did you save her? What happened?
So my sister was like basically still a baby, and we loved swimming. My family's really big on swimming. So immediately once she was able to be in like one of those baby floaties, so basically a baby floaty is a round floaty thing around you and the baby's feet go into it and there's like a buckle
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't drown. But something happened where my sister flipped
Mm-hmm.
and she was buckled in. So she was flipped in the
Oh no.
Yeah. And everyone in my family is useless. I see my cousin. I was swimming. The pool's really big. I was at my aunt's house. She has a very big pool. I was swimming on one end, just minding my own business. My mom was in charge of looking at my sister.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin from upstairs notices my sister's flipped. My mom had like gone onto her phone. She like didn't care anymore. She didn't want to watch my sister. And my mom looks up, starts screaming, doesn't jump in, doesn't save her.
Oh.
My cousin doesn't do anything. I'm at the opposite end. I like sprint over. I swim over, not sprint. I flip her over. I pull her up. I like learned CPR that week. I was like, ah! And then she was alive.
Wow.
But everyone was just useless. They were like, oh my god, look, a drowning baby. But made no moves to flip her back over, I guess.
Yeah, that must be a terrifying experience. And does your sister remember any of that?
No, I think sometimes with memories as a child, you remember because it's repeated to you so much. Like whenever she goes swimming, we're like, oh, just so you know, you drowned kind of as a kid. So I think she has the memory because we just kept telling her, but she doesn't remember. She was literally a baby.
I feel like babies have some intuition when it comes to drowning to surface themselves.
Yeah, but she was buckled in.
Right, she was drowning.
She literally couldn't get out of the floaty. It was like the backwards floaty plus you're strapped inside.
Who was supposed to be an attendant to this child?
My mother.
And she was not in the water.
No, she was above the water on her phone.
You're supposed to be next to the baby and they're in a floaty, not...
Yeah, my mom never really swam with us.
Okay. Well...
I was about 9 years old when this happened.
Well, I hope everyone learns from this. You know, be next to your baby if you're planning to have them in the water.
Yeah.
Because they can't swim properly.
Or just invite me to your pool and I'll save your baby.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just invite me to your pool.
So our first segment of today is our topic, which we would like to discuss is toxic parenting.
Yeah, so I think both of us had toxic parenting in different ways. And I'd love if we asked each other the similarities and differences and kind of maybe some advice, if we have it, towards what our traumas are. Because our traumas are very different. Like, I was born in Iran and grew up in California, so I had kind of like an immigrant in America experience, whereas Jeff had not only an experience abroad, but also very strict religious parents. And also parents who worked. I had a stay-at-home mom. So our childhoods are very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask my question first, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. In many Middle Eastern families, young boys and girls are held to a different standard. The girl must be pure and kind, while often the boy has minimal restrictions, such as having girlfriends or going on dates. In your experience in Eastern Asia, did you see families that let their sons date and kept their daughters at home? What was it like for you and your sisters? Did you have less dating rules imposed on you?
Good question. From my experience, I did not have any restrictions on dating.
None?
I was not told that I needed to wait, or religiously speaking, they gave me no guidance on sexuality and or finding a partner. They have preferences, which is like Christian, Asian,
Eastern Asian, not just Asian.
Eastern Asian. I think they were protective in a sense that they wanted me to have a guided spiritual walk rather than what could you encounter if you dated a white person. But as for my sister, it seemed like they were free to date whoever they want. They weren't really telling them what to do. Even through their adult life, they were quite liberal in their options. Because my parents were pretty open-minded when it comes to dating, except for when it comes to dating someone from the Middle East with a Muslim background. I think they would sense some hesitancy, but they wouldn't stop it from happening.
So there's no difference between you and your sisters. It wasn't like the boy could do things and the girls couldn't.
No,
No.
I did not experience that. But when it comes to a typical Asian experience living in Southeast Asia, most strict parents, unlike my experience, are going to have their kids stay home until they finish their schooling, and dating would be after 18 when they go to college. If they have proven themselves to be successful, then they will support any relationship.
Oh.
And but my family did not do that. My parents, if we had stayed in Singapore, it would have been very different because they were going to be much stricter. It was until we moved to Hong Kong when we went to international school, which gave a different precedent, and my parents were not home most of the time due to work. They were unable to basically set that same
boundary
rule and boundary. And being at international school, you're surrounded by kids that are not necessarily governed as well by their parents. And if we were going to public school, it would have been different. But yeah, how about you?
Well, I don't have brothers, but I grew up with very strict parents when it came to dating. And also my friends who were also Middle Eastern, I could see the difference that they would experience rather than their brothers. Like, I have this one friend, I'll keep her anonymous, but she would, if someone told her parents that she was in the same car with a boy, it was like she's getting hit that day, and her brother would, tell her brother is very honest. He would say, like, I made out with a girl, and his parents would be like, oh, it's okay, son, like, we understand. And then the daughters would, like, be, just a rumor was enough for them. A rumor that their daughter was in the car with a boy is like, you're dead. Like, what were you doing? What happened? Who was this boy? I don't care where the source came from. And it could be scary, because I think sometimes people know that about Middle Eastern girl families, and I've had not just one but two girls whose boyfriends, after they broke up and they wanted to get back together, the girl said, no, this was a bad relationship, I don't want to get back to you, and the boy is threatened to go tell her parents everything they did as a form of punishment, because they know that the girl is, like, done for if they reveal everything that actually happened in that relationship.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily toxic in this sense, because they have their reasons, and
Right.
there are some kids who do go about their day without a care in the life, and they suffer consequences from hanging out with the wrong crowd. And if your parents don't know their friends, don't know your friends, and they don't know who you're with, and who you're dating, and you're just secretive about it, or you're just, like, dating whoever you want, it might cause pain in the future if they're not careful.
Yeah, you should date your cousin, so your parents aren't.
Right.
You should date your cousin, so your parents aren't confused who you're with. They know the parents so much.
Yeah, right?
I think that's part of the reason. That other friend, one of the friends I mentioned, whose brother could do whatever, they would always, she's a very big family, they would always, invite her cousin over from the Middle East and just be like, oh, you guys would be cute together. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying all Middle Easterns like their cousins, but sometimes there's, like, they want it to stay in the family because it's easier to know where that person came from. Like what you said, like, you don't know someone's intentions, but at a certain point you have to take faith into that and not assume someone's gonna hurt you.
Right.
Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, sure.
Most Chinese living in East Asia have a pretty strict upbringing when it comes to academics. And it comes to no surprise. Some Chinese parents who have an amazing child prodigy have a snob attitude towards parents whose kids are struggling. Some parents resort to archaic physical punishment to discipline a child. And as a result, a lot of Chinese kids are in a lot of pressure academically, especially when it comes to lower income families who cannot afford private tutors. For personal experience, being hit by a teacher and my parents for not meeting their expectation was damaging to my mental health. But I grew up to be a fine person after all, after therapy, of course. But what is it like for your from your perspective growing up with your family, whoever who had never laid hands on you?
Right.
And what did your parents do to discipline you for your or your sister?
Okay. So, I believe that hitting your kid is one way that's abusive, but sometimes emotional abuse can be just as scary. Like, I went to the school I went to was basically like 40% Indian and 40% East Asian, and the other 20% was like Middle Eastern. So everyone was getting hit at home, everyone was getting abused in some form of way. I was not getting hit. I rather feared like abandonment. So what my mom would do is she's very smart. She knows like what each person is scared of happening to them. She knew that if she hit me, I would kind of be like, all right, whatever, like, ouch. And I also, even as a kid, I will tell on you. Like, in America, if you hit a kid and the kid tells the teacher, some repercussion will happen, right? And I made it very clear that anything that happened, I will basically reveal. So I don't think she was going to hit me for that reason also, because I have such a big mouth. She's probably scared, I'm new in this country, and my daughter will probably tell on me if I do this action. Second thing, she knew my fear of like abandonment, because when we first came from Iran to America, I could not be separated. I thought everyone was always leaving me. I wouldn't let my mom go to the bathroom. If I like went to bed, I needed someone like underneath to make sure, I wouldn't wake up in another country. I just had a lot of abandonment issues. So she would basically say like, if you don't get this grade, I'm sending you to this country. Or like, I'm gonna leave to this place and you're never gonna see me again. And I would like miss one question, and she would there was literally this I made a TikTok about this, but there was this one time she printed a fake airline ticket to Israel. And it was like, I'm gonna leave you there with your Iranian passport, good luck. And I was like, what? So she would just induce fear that if I got bad grades, she wouldn't love me anymore. So I think that fear made me work so hard, because I was like, oh my god, I don't want to go to Israel like that. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
So she never hit me. She never laid a hand on me. She knew that emotional abuse was the way to go, because I couldn't tell on her.
Yeah.
And that it would get the job done, because I was so scared of being left somewhere. So that was always her threat.
Yeah, that's definitely, to me, unhealthy. And in a way toxic, because it undermines your mental health and the ability to grow as a healthy teenager or a child. I think that disciplining your child is a difficult task, but the best way to discipline a child is using words and being able to help them understand mistake, help them understand the consequences of their action, and validate, that their pain, that their suffering is, real, and that that there are even more real consequences in the world that, they have to suffer through, and that the things they're going through, the things that they're acting out, is not necessarily the worst thing that can happen to them, and that they can learn and grow from these things so that they can face more difficult challenge, and that their success are based on their ability to grow, and their success is built into their ability to apply themselves in life.
Yeah. I think there's
And
also balance too, right? You can't be too easy.
mm-hmm.
Because like sometimes I see Park Slope moms, especially on the train, I see them where they're be like, "Hi, sweetie, how's your day?" And the kid's like, "Shut up, mom, you ugly
Yeah.
whore." And the mom is like, "Oh, that wasn't nice. I'll be ready when you're able to use your kind words." And it's like that kid needs help.
I would say a lot of Christian or a lot of um, lower income family, mainly just minorities, are going to disagree that using words are more effective. It's simply
Hmm.
a temporary fix for years of therapy, years of trauma, of being beaten
Right.
like as a child.
No, yeah,
And
you should never be beaten. There's a happy middle between beating up your kid and also letting your kid beat you up,
mhm,
right? Like, you can't beat your kid up and be like, oh my God, why is my kid flinch and why are they depressed all the time and why do they always have this imposter syndrome? What's wrong with my kid? It's like, you beat up your kid. What do you mean? And
mhm.
there's also the other end of like, those rich moms who are like, oh my God, my kids always hate me. It's like, yeah, because when they were a kid, you let them call you like the B word. Like you just let them walk all over you.
Yeah, there is a trick for those kids out there listening. If your parents hit you in your butt, just wear more layers of underwear.
Or gain weight in your butt and then the fat will absorb.
Yeah, anyway, let's move on to our next question.
Okay, sure. So this one is for me. Jealousy is a very big problem in my culture. Specifically, I grew up being afraid to share my success because my parents told me someone would be jealous and would put the evil eye on me. We went through a ritual called esfand, in which we burn an herb and it makes a popping sound above the head when there is an evil eye to ward off. And to be honest, it worked. If we held the esfand on top of my ugly cousin's head, it would never pop because none of us were jealous. But because of these toxic rituals, we almost became more jealous. And as we grew older, we developed a fear of jealousy. Did you ever grow up being told to keep certain things private to avoid misfortune from jealousy subsequently? Does your culture put an importance on the idea of jealousy?
I I think I dealt with jealousy um, privately. I as a as a private person,
Mm.
I seldom express myself, and my parents rarely talk to me about like dealing with my emotional
Mm.
life,
Mhm.
and when they do, it's after the fact, after feeling certain emotions and expressing myself, then they would help me
Mhm.
cope. But it's not giving me the skills to deal with the pain and jealousy. It's just we're here to comfort you.
Mhm.
Um, but um,
I have one question.
mhm.
So what was your first language?
My first language was Mandarin.
Okay. And what language did you speak at home?
I spoke English my whole life because I went to an international school
Mhm.
which spoke English, and my secondary became Chinese, which is my Mandarin and
Right.
Cantonese
Do you feel as though,
background.
because sometimes when I see your mom and you interact, even like now, it's almost like you guys have a language barrier, like a slight one, right? Because there's certain words I know that in my own language, like Farsi, cannot translate to English, and there's certain English words that are very difficult to portray in your language. And do you feel like there was a slight language barrier? Because I know if I spoke English at home, it would be very hard for me to express my emotions to my mom because she speaks English, but our first language is Farsi, and that's how we talked at home, and that's how we told each other things. And I
Hmm.
think if I had to say it in English, there would be a discrepancy between that.
Yeah, I'm partly to blame for not, learning the language that I'm born with or born into.
Mm,
And the reason behind this language barrier is because not only was I attending an international school, because I felt like having a Chinese background, like a Chinese name, and a broken English was embarrassing and almost like a second citizen at an international school where kids were speaking perfect English, and I had given myself a task to let go of my culture and adapt and adopt a new primary language that I think I need so that people accept me for themselves as one of them. And that meant putting all my eggs into learning English, watching TV, watching a bunch of different,
even at home, just speaking English.
Yeah, just speaking and just not giving a day in the life for like speaking Mandarin.
Yeah.
Just so that I can be part of that international group.
And it's hard when you step away from a language, because like I speak Farsi fluently, but my sister also grew up in a household where everyone's speaking Farsi, but she can't speak it. And when she tries to, she feels so embarrassed to speak Farsi, because she's like, oh, I let this language go for so long, now it's like weird to just jump back into it.
Yeah, and if I had, I also had dyslexia, which put a lot of damper in my learning in the early years. And I was quite fluent in Mandarin at even first grade. But if I had kept it, if I had just, put effort in both languages, I would have been fine growing up. But I was very vehement in letting go of my secondary language because I felt like they were going to mock me, and that I was, I imposed this on myself, my theory behind.
Well, people react differently, right? People react differently to bullying. Like, I came here after 9/11, and people did not like Middle Easterns, and instead of, saying, I'm gonna pretend to be white or put this away, I was like, well, this is also a bad decision on my part. Why don't I just make so many terrorist jokes, and then maybe the attention can be on me, and then I take the power back. But at the end of the day, I didn't make the right decision, and there's no right decision, right? Because I started making fun of myself, so other people couldn't, and that doesn't fix it either. So, everyone reacts to bullying differently. Some people are like, oh my god, they're making fun of me for this mark on my arm. I'm just going to put makeup on it and cover it up. And someone else might be like, guys, look at this mark on my arm. Like, they might bring attention to it, and someone else might want to cover it up. But neither's right or wrong.
I would say jealousy in this day and age is super unhealthy, and I feel like parents should actually engage in that conversation and avoid encouraging jealousy and encourage inclusiveness. Of course, you want your kids to feel loved, and the best way to encourage that is to tell them how their flaws are, not
flaws. Sometimes they're not flaws,
that they can be still beautiful amongst, their mistakes and their flaws, or that they have the ability to grow, they have the ability to become a beautiful person, or that they are beautiful and that they are, just being
words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation and guidance that leads them to believing in themselves rather than, deprecating and leading them to feel internal pain for a long period of time and having to deal with that through therapy.
Yeah. I think, jealousy can be very toxic. I had a lot of jealousy in my family where, it was a lot about weight, too. Like, my family is very obsessed with weight. My mom's side, everyone is usually above 200, 250 pounds.
Yeah.
And if I was very skinny, I couldn't help it. I was also anemic. I was, going through my own situation as a kid. I couldn't stand up until I was, 2. But they would always be so mean. They'll keep ratting on they would say, I hope when you grow up you're fat. And it's, such a weird thing to say to a kid. Why is that a bad thing? And then second of all, do you wish that upon me? Like, are you mad at me for having a health condition? Like, I'm so confused. But it was just like a lot of jealousy going back and forth. And if it wasn't about weight, it was like, how much money does your dad make? Just like weird things. And they would like promote it within. Like, once after Persian parties, after everyone left, like 5 Persian women would sit in a circle. Did you see what she was wearing? I heard her husband lost her job. She gained a lot of weight. It's like, oh my god. And the kids are like, can we go home? Like, what is this? But yeah, there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of like rituals to get rid of it. It's like, how about you stop talking? And then maybe this wouldn't follow you around everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have 2 more questions left. I'm next.
Yeah.
When I think about toxic parents, I also imagine parents who are absent from a child's life. I'm not talking about just kids who go to school alone, which happens. I'm talking about not being home most of the days, leaving the kid to cook, clean, learn, and grow in their own. Some parents may be too busy with work just to keep their family alive. Some have kids work in their family business at a young age, but that may be just a process of teaching a child responsibility. But I think that it's abuse, and when a child does not get a chance to experience a childhood with a supportive role model as a person to find, comfort, that is why when there are more than one children in an absent household, the oldest child usually resumes the responsibility of an adult.
Right.
So, do you agree? Is this toxic?
Yeah.
How could busy parents, resolve this
issue?
predicament?
Okay. Well, I grew up in the opposite household where I did not have a moment alone. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, saw her every day, every second, and I also saw my cousins and my aunt. My aunt was also a stay-at-home mom. My grandma lived with us for a portion. I was never alone. So I can't imagine what that would even be like, because I, as a kid, would wake up and I'd be like, I have a question about life, and I could go ask my mom. Like, I had so many questions about everything and different bonding points with each of them. Like, I think as an adult, I have a lot of random skills because I was able to hang around adults so much, and also my parents cared a lot about putting me in different classes like dance and piano, and my mom would take me and she'd be very attentive towards all of these. And I can't imagine doing any of that on my own. I can't imagine being like, piano's for me. Like, no kid is like just going through activity books looking what to sign themselves up for. Or, I mean, making friends as a kid is hard. I also had a hard time because I didn't speak English until I was like 7. So having friends at home, at least, so you're not fully alone. I think being alone is good sometimes in your adult life, especially, so you can figure yourself out. But when you're a kid, you don't need that time to think about poetry and like look into yourself and what's happened. You need to like be around people, preferably like other kids with the supervision of your parents. But like, who do you go to when you have a question? Or there's so many things that could go wrong. Like, what if you put a fork in the electrical? Like, there's literally endless things that could go wrong. Now, what do you do if you both parents have to work and that's the only way the family can make money? I would look into, why did you have a kid if you aren't able to be with your kid? Because right now, I mean, I work with a lot of kids and I see parents who do have money, but they still don't spend time with the kid. Before you have a child, think, are we financially there to be there for the kid? Or are we going to have to both have full-time jobs? Because that type of parent, you will still have a good kid. Like, Jeff turned out perfectly fine, but you're going to leave behind certain things in that kid that will need like therapy to fix, because no child is equipped to raise themselves. And if you have an oldest child taking care of the other kids, you're going to traumatize that eldest because they're not ready for that, And I'm not saying it's like fully selfish of you to have a kid if you aren't financially stable. Like, there's many instances where that does work, but make a plan. Like you said, can you have a job where your kid can come with you at least? Or I knew a kid whose parents had an ice cream shop, and then the kid worked at the ice cream shop. Not everyone can do a perfect situation like that, but at least trying to find a job where your kid is not at home alone.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are not equipped to raise themselves by them. Like, do you have a parent that can at least stay with them 24/7? They need 24/7 watching. What if a fire starts? Does a kid know CPR? Like, there's so many things. What are they eating? I just don't understand how you could be alone. I just don't get it.
Yeah, let me just end with, like, this is definitely a tough topic for me, but I think that parents who have no option but to let their child be responsible of their own life, that at least have that conversation with them. Like, we need to, make enough money to cover this month. Are you able to cover? Are you able to take care of yourself? If your child response is, I'm not sure, if there's any doubt that you can see in your child's eyes, let them stay with someone else.
Yeah.
Let someone else talk to them. Let someone else take care of your child.
Right.
Because, like, I did not get that talk. I did not get that opportunity as a younger child, like, between 7 and 11.
Yeah.
No one spoke to me regarding, like, going to school alone or coming home and eating leftovers. Like, I know how to heat it up because they told me how to heat up the food, but I think that might be, like a way, like, damaging to kids' future.
I agree.
And yeah, let's move on to the last question.
Last question for me. What do you think of parents that want to keep their child's purity? In my own experience, I wasn't allowed to look at people kissing on TV. I never even seen my own parents kiss. It only made me more curious when it came to sexual acts. Do you think that sheltering the child makes them more rebellious? What age is it appropriate to teach your kids about love and relationships?
They should teach kids love and relationship, like, off the bat. Because once a kid is desensitized to, like, kissing and, like, hugging, the sooner they discover, like, the boundaries. Also, being able to talk to your kids about respecting other people's personal space at a young age is so important, because they will start asking for consent, asking for, what makes you comfortable. Are you okay with a high five? Are you okay with a slap in the back? Like, what are you okay with for me to show that I care about you?
Boundaries for the kid too.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just sheltering your child and having them discover on their own may backfire.
Yeah.
In a sense that they might go off the chart, off the far
rail,
end when they start, having their freedom and not knowing what boundaries are as a young man or woman, and causing, more pain to themselves and other people around them.
Because they don't know what they want yet.
Yeah. So it's
they're also thinking
to
like
start early.
Yeah, they're also thinking like, what is so good that I'm not allowed to look? What is so good that I'm banned from even trying it? I think that was my thought, as well as like, this must be the best thing ever if I'm not even allowed to open my eyes. So, yeah, I think it hurts the kid.
Yeah. We can go to break and then we can come back with a short game called Rate This Iranian and Rate This Chinese Person.
Hello and welcome back. We're going to jump into Rate That Iranian. Starting first, we have, I may mispronounce these, Mahalaga Jabari.
Well, she's definitely very, very fit. I think that her face is definitely very symmetrical, very attractive. I would say 10 out of 10.
She is a 10 out of 10. I agree.
Yeah. All right, next.
Do you want to look at her some more? I'm just kidding. Okay, next up, we have Shogayage Claudia Lynx.
She is very, she reminds me of, an actress.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Like Elizabeth Taylor or something.
Jolie.
Oh, Angelina Jolie. Oh, yeah, she's so pretty.
With the eyes, with eyeshadow.
She's a 10 for me, too.
She's definitely a 10 because she reminds me of Jolie, which is another 10.
But I would still pick the first girl above, like if I were.
I think they're both very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Okay. We have Nazanin Nuri.
Mm-hmm. I would say she is a 9 or an 8.
Yeah, I gave her an 8.
At best, a 9.
Yeah.
But
she's very beautiful. But the first two girls, I was like,
yeah.
Ultimate beauties.
Okay. That was good. Quick.
All right. Gol Shifite Farhani.
I'm not sure how I feel about the I guess we're gonna have to
I gave her a 10.
let you guys decide which photo looks better for her. But she's like maybe an 8 or 9 for me.
Oh, I like her face. I think she has a very unique face.
Oh yeah, no doubt she's unique. But after comparing this to the first two,
yeah,
I'm not sure how I can justify going back to 10.
Yeah.
But she's very pretty. She's definitely very pretty.
Yeah. Next. Okay, Bahar Somokh. I'm definitely saying her last name wrong. Somokh is a spice you put on like rice. Sumek? I don't know.
In my opinion, she's very symmetrical, very attractive person, but it's an 8.
Yeah, she has like an older vibe, I would say.
She definitely looks older. I'm not sure if there's photos of her from her earlier years, which could justify, giving a higher mark for rating someone. This is all, again,
we're not equipped to be rating people. It's just fun.
This is just a fun numerical. It could be random. None of this matters.
Nothing we say matters. Sarah Shahi.
I think she's pretty.
Yeah.
She's definitely high 9.
Yeah, high 9.
Next person.
Nazanin Bonayati.
She's cute.
She's pretty. I gave her a 9 because she's beautiful, but she's not like Angelina Jolie.
Very skinny, very cute, but cute only brings you so far in life. I feel like you need to be beautiful. I feel like in all aspect and not just dainty. Let's go to the next person.
Aylar Lee. So she is also she's an actress, a model. Yeah, she's not fully Iranian, and she's a pornographic actress.
Okay. I've never seen her face in my life. I think she's an 8.
She's pretty, yeah, like an 8. She also has like an older vibe.
All right.
Shiva Rose.
Number 9 is
Shiva Rose.
Kind of reminds me of a modern day Rebecca Black.
Huh.
Maybe like a 8 or 9.
Yeah.
All right. Last one is.
Oh my god.
Yeganeh Mafaher.
Who's that?
Maher. I think I would give this one a 10.
Oh.
Because she's my girlfriend and she's beautiful.
That was fun.
All right, let's go to
Rate the Chinese now.
Rate the Chinese man. Number 1, Aaron Kwok.
He's nice looking. Like an 8.
8.
Too much muscle. I'm scared you're gonna kill me.
Too much muscle turns you off?
I don't want the.
He looks skinny for a muscular man.
That's true. He just looks a little intense with the fade, I guess.
All right, next person.
A 6 or a 7?
This is Lee Hong Wang.
No, not my type.
Very tall, very well built. I would say the first two is probably in the Chinese world
Mm-hmm.
a 9 or a 10.
Yeah,
them.
it's like a beauty standard.
This is hot to a lot of Chinese people.
I believe that would be hot towards a lot of people. I'm not attracted to like
muscle.
extreme like muscle. I don't like that.
Like me. Like a little chubby, but not very skinny, not very muscular.
Like you're like the most muscular person I've ever dated.
Oh,
Everyone
okay.
else looks like they're dying.
Okay.
Of like starvation.
If I became very muscularly speaking,
yeah.
you would lose interest?
No, I would never lose interest.
Okay.
But the initial attraction, I'd never have it towards like extremely muscular people. I usually have it towards like, you know, that people who like Pete Davidson, Timothy Chalamet-esque bodies, like a little sickly.
Okay. Sure. Well, this next person might be it. His name is
young.
Edison Chen. No, he's actually very old now, but he used to be attractive and young.
He's cute. He looks edgy. I like him, like a 9.
I can tell that's your type. All right, next.
Why?
This next person
what?
was, I was told I look like him for a while. Jay Chou.
10. I like him.
He's talented. You guys should listen to his music. He's a songwriter. Actor too, but he's mainly a singer-songwriter. He writes for a lot of creative artists. Next person.
Oh, wait. Okay, so the photo on the left, I'm like, The photo on the right, beautiful. Gorgeous. 10.
10 on the right.
On the right
so
is a 10.
Tuxedo usually enhances a person's rating.
If someone has their hair done in a tuxedo, even if they're like a full tattooed person, if they're in a tuxedo and like I could see a little bit of the tattoo, it's like beautiful.
Okay, so tattoos and tuxedos is a plus.
Effort. I think tattoos and effort.
All right, next, number 6, Chen Zhao.
Okay, this photo on the left and the right, 2 different people.
Okay, so
the photo on the left, I feel like I know that guy. The photo on the right, movie star, beautiful.
Cool. All right, next, Semi Louis.
Wonderful actor, loved the movie, great film. Not attracted to him, like 5.
He's a little chubby, huh?
No, it's okay to be chubby. We're not against chubby.
Okay, well then the next one is Jackie Chan.
10.
Why?
Crush as a child. I love him. I know he's slightly problematic.
He is problematic.
But attraction-wise, you kidding? Those movies.
Here's some tea. His child from another mistress went to my school. Much younger than me, of course. That's a fun fact.
Wait,
also,
he has
Jackie
all of
Chan,
these beliefs and he has mistresses?
Anyway, Jackie Chan looks like my dad, and that's fun.
Yeah, your
Next
dad's
person,
also hot.
Okay, Bruce Lee.
Okay, Bruce Lee's very attractive, but too much competition. I don't want a guy that everyone's chasing after. Oh, I said Jackie Chan.
We're rating his
appeal.
Okay.
Appeal 10.
Okay. So he's a 10.
Yeah. He has that perfect balance of like fit, but doesn't look like he'll kill me.
He's a very nice, gentle being when it comes to philosophy.
He looks gentle.
Number 10, Jeff Tan.
Ah, you did yourself too. Oh my god, is that you playing basketball? Oh my god, you look so cute. 10.
All right. We will have to conclude our segment on rating those.
That was fun.
Yeah, people. And our last segment of the day is Q&A.
Yes.
So we have 2 questions. Would you like to bring out the questions for us?
Sure.
Answer?
So this person reached out to me through TikTok after seeing our racial relationship. And she's also Iranian, and she was also with a Chinese person. She would like to stay anonymous. Basically, in their relationship, things were not going well. She set her boundaries on her virginity. He didn't listen, pressured her, saying things like, I'll cheat on you if you don't, do certain actions with me. Kind of just pushed her, and after several months, she was like, okay, fine. The relationship ended up lasting 3 years. It was on and off. And one of the things that made them break up initially was that her roommate told her that on Halloween, he cheated on her with her, the roommate. They broke up. They got back together. They broke up. She still loves him. Okay? How many times do you forgive a cheater? Can you forgive a cheater? And is there hope?
This question hits home.
Clarify that I'm not the reason it does.
Yeah. To clarify, it is prior to this relationship. This relationship is fresh and it's healthy. But my prior relationship, which ended in a divorce, yes, I was married, was due to a lot of boundaries being crossed and toxic behaviors being targeted at me and causing me to behave in a way that I do not enjoy behaving, and it caused me a great deal of pain emotionally, to a point where I was in a manic and anxiety attack episode, and I think that this person need to reevaluate what makes them happy, and it's in the thick of things, in the midst of all the things you experience in life. I feel like you sometimes get lost, and it's always good for someone who have been abused emotionally to find time to just reevaluate their own value and seek help to recover from the damages. And therapy is very, very important for someone who experienced infidelity, cheating, and mistrust. And if you do not go through therapy, if you do not talk to someone professionally, you may end up finding more damages, and just the tear will keep opening. The wound will keep opening, and you will feel unhappy.
So do you think, but going back to the question, can you forgive a cheater, and how many times is too many?
Okay. So I tried to forgive my cheater and resume my relationship. And it did not work out for me. And not to say that you cannot forgive a person and also get over and also resume a relationship. It's possible, and I've seen someone do it, and they're in seemingly a happy marriage. But I think that it's up to you and your partner to go to therapy, talk to someone, and figure out why that happened, and figure out how you are able to love this person and continue to love this person,
right,
with that in mind, that they cheated on you, then that you will have to question their commitment to you, right, and also being willing to communicate every time you feel insecure, every time you need that person to reassure you that you are loved. You need to communicate that if you really love this person and that you want to continue this relationship with that person, so that if that person disrespect you and also aren't able to provide you that security, it's time to leave. It's time to move on. And how do you move on? You step away from this person physically, and you start to talk to someone else who you know will keep you from being hurt again. And if you do not believe you're being hurt, then you may have to get someone who can, a third party who can tell you if this person is hurting you emotionally, right, or abusing you physically, so that you know that what you deserve is a set boundary and a happy life.
I think also, you said that someone who had a cheating situation, they're happy. I think cheating is bad, but if that person came forward and confessed it,
Mm-hmm.
there's at least some bonus points. And also, like, who they cheated on you with. You know, in this situation, your roommate, that's, like, malicious, right? Like, that's not, I got drunk one night, who knows what happened, I'm being honest with you, do you still want to be in a relationship with me? I did this horrible thing. That's like, oh, I got caught. Oh my God, it was your roommate. It's like so many layers of wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How, and also, to the question how you fix the other person, it's not up to you. You have literally you have no control over the other person's ability.
No. They didn't ask how to fix. They asked, how do you stop loving someone after they've hurt you so much?
Well, is there hope in fixing a relationship, right?
Right.
There is, and that you cannot, you literally you have no control over the other person, how they think, and the only thing you can do is to keep them accountable. Are they going to therapy? Are they talking to somebody, working through their problems? How are they showing that they are making progress?
Yeah.
And that is the barometer.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the second question?
All right, next question. I'll read it.
Sure thing.
Our second question also is anonymous.
Yeah.
Our listener is a virgin. She has gone as far as kissing, and now there is a boy she is interested in, and she doesn't want a relationship though, and neither does he. But can she be a friend with benefits if she's never had benefit? Can a virgin become a friend with benefit to someone who doesn't want to invest anything emotional?
Should I go?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that's a good idea. And I think it's fine if a virgin wants to be with someone experienced. But that person has to at least care about you a little bit. I think if you lose your virginity to someone who's, like, capable of ghosting you, capable of making fun of you, capable of, like, shaming you in any way or disappearing, it's going to leave a bad mark. And it could lead to worse things happening. I think if this person is also 23 years old, you know, you've gone as far as kissing, continue taking it slow, go step by step with someone you care about. You don't need to check off these marks to feel complete. Start with yourself. Make sure you know what you want going into it, like watching things. I know when I was in high school, I didn't do anything, but I got educated on what I could want once I did get into that situation. So I'm not, like, confused or sad by the experience. I know what to expect. I know how someone could, like, not manipulate me, all of these things. And I think friends with benefits, it works if you've, you know, had relationships, it hasn't worked, you want to just gain experience quickly. But if you want to gain that first experience, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yes, friends with benefit only applies to people who have something to give and something to receive that they know they want. And if you're inexperienced, you should not be in a relationship friends with benefit, because they'll be missing out, you'll be missing out, no one's going to be happy in the end, and there's just a huge waste of time for everyone. And as for a person who is looking for a way to discover their sexuality, it's an endless opportunity in this world where sex is everywhere, and there's education about people who are hesitant, and it's, this person is very innocent. I can tell that they are very hesitant because of their inexperience, but you have to start somewhere. Just as you need to learn to ride a bike and fall and learn how to keep balance, just as it is hard to enter a sexual life without having sex. But you have to start small, and it might come to touching yourself or watching porn. It's really on your own terms. Make sure it always is on your own term.
Right.
Always do something you're comfortable with. And if you find a niche, if you find something that, oh, this is exciting, this is something I enjoy, let that be a way to open that door a little wider each time. Can this also satisfy? Can this also satisfy me? Every person have a niche, but there's also every person have something that they haven't discovered yet, and that they have yet to experience with someone else, because it's not always something you experience yourself. When two people come together, they both, if they fit really well, you both benefit from it.
When two people come together.
Yes, and in climates it's important, but it's not always everyone's goal. If not everyone, if there are relationships where it's not sexual, and pleasuring the other person brings them pleasure. So you got to learn what brings you to a climax, what makes you happy sexually or not sexually. And there are people who are not sexual, asexuals. So just do a little bit deeper research on your own and read it up and just figure out what makes you happy, and then consider something that is like friends with benefit or hook up, or keep it small first.
Yeah, don't jump into it, because you can't predict what the other person will do if you don't at least know them. Make sure, if you're going to do friends with benefits, make sure they're really your friend. They're not someone that can disappear the next day and you're stuck with like, what happened? You don't want that for your first experience. That what happened.
Yes. Speaking of sexuality and hot people,
What?
we should segue into our end now. I would like to plug our company that we share.
Yeah.
We have a company called Finale. Our website is finale.com, FNALI.com. And we sell clothes made by hand, by our hands, and designed by us. And feel free to browse and take a look at our pictures that we modeled ourselves. So check it out.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Last time we mentioned we watched the movie Persepolis. I just want to say I thought it was a wonderful movie. One note, I guess my family loves the Shah, and they kind of were bashing on the Shah a little tiny bit. But, I mean, it's a true story, so it's not their fault that they went through a bad experience. I just get sad whenever people say bad things about the Shah, but... You like the movie?
It was well made. Animation was
for a black and
very
white
cute.
movie, it's so good.
Yeah, I think it was very cute. The storytelling was very, very captivating, and I think that I would recommend this to anyone who is willing to sit through an animated film.
It's really, really good. 10 out of 10.
And I thank you guys for spending this hour with us. I hope to get more questions from you guys, and tell us what you want to hear about in a future podcast. And any recommendation or any suggestion is welcome. So, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.